Welcome, Michael, to Metallarian Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about the Flotsam and Jetsam, this new album, I Am the Weapon, and obviously more things related to Metal War. So we are starting by asking, so how are you? How are you doing today? How is the band during the couple of years?
Oh man. First of all, I want to say thanks for having me on and listening to I Am the Weapon and new stuff that we're doing. Right now I'm on a little bit of a break. We just got back from Europe. We did a few of the festivals over there. We did Wacken, we did Dynamo, the Bay Area Interthrational, which is a conglomeration of Bay Area musicians, and we did that with Craig Lucicero from Forbidden. So we've been busy all summer, and it's kind of nice to have a week off here where I can regenerate some energy, maybe get some rest, and you know, enjoy some coffee and maybe some Coors banquets.
Okay, nice. So we're talking about now from this I Am the Weapon. When did you start writing songs for this new album? Are all the songs new, or did you rescue any composition that were left out of previous albums?
They're all new. We always say it though. We always say, "Hey, we'll just any leftover tracks, we'll use it for the next record." We never do it though. Like we're just kidding ourselves. We always write something new, and for some reason, Steve and I, there's no shortage in riffs. Steve Conley, the other guitar player, there's no shortage in riffs from us. Just it's a factory, and we're not running short on any riffs at all. So new stuff is you know is always on the horizon when we're getting ready to write a new record. We're
Mhm.
actually starting to get riffs together for the next one. So
Okay. So, yeah, that is talking about these kind of topics. So, I saw that you always working in a new music because Float and Jetsam has a continuous work since the first days came to the world or was born in the world. So, how do you focus in a new album? Do you prefer to focus it one is your finished touring, or how do you decide when it's time to work on a new songs and a new album? Because it's been 3 years, like 3 years since your previous album. So what made you have now the right time to release a new record?
so there's a lot of info involved on that one. Like we did our last record, Blood in the Water, and that came out like during the COVID times, and we felt that was probably our best record to date, and it got lost in the COVID bullcrap. And we really didn't get to tour with it. There were some videos released and stuff like that. But for a band, for what we do, we got to tour, sell merch, sell merch. We can't just release a record and let it sit. And so always, after it sat for a couple of years, we started writing another record, and we got a little bit sidetracked on I Am the Weapon because we were doing tour dates at the same time. So we'd work for a couple of months and then derailed by a tour, like a month-long tour or so, and then we'd have to like try to get our heads back in the game to keep rolling with the record. So we had some setbacks like that, which is not a bad setback, but it's just for some reason we always schedule tour dates right in the middle of a record, which is crazy.
Hmm.
Uh, but I will say that I Am the Weapon. It's comparable or better than Blood in the Water. From everything that we're hearing from people, and people are digging it. So we're super proud of it. Like we were the last record. I think the band has had a reemergence, back in after Ugly Noise came out, and we started back up with the self-titled record. I think the band has reinvented itself a lot better in a lot better ways. We've locked on to some. It's not only thrash metal, but it's appealing to like the power metal people too. With these giant choruses that Eric and Ken are writing together, and like this song, I've heard it a couple times. It's all killer and no filler. And so when you got fans that are telling you that, then you're kind of locked onto something.
Hmm? Okay.
If
So
I
now,
start rambling, if I
hmm?
start rambling too much, just tell me to shut the hell up, all right?
No, don't worry. So, how do you feel about this new release compared to your previous one, which came out during the difficult time due to the pandemic? Blood of the Water was burning during the pandemic.
Yeah, that's the thing. We were super bummed about that because we felt that was our best record at the time. There was some really strong, really, really strong music. And w- a lot of the older fans didn't even know we had anything released, So we went and we did the summer festivals last year over in Europe, and people didn't even know we had a new record out. So that's a little heartbreaking when you put all this time in something and all this effort, and you're really proud of it, and then someone asks you, "Hey, when are you going to release something new?" You're like, "What? What the hell?" But hopefully the next year or so, we would like to start like moving in a forward direction. Instead of playing our classic stuff all the time, we want to play the new stuff for people, and I think there's definitely a place for it. A lot of bands, they don't put out new material. They're surviving off the classic stuff that they did back in 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or something like that. We don't want to do that. We feel like our best material is still yet to be created.
Okay. One detail that I noticed in with Blood in the Water is that it was a harder and a rough album, more speed, more, more harder this one. So and this new album, and I Am a Weapon, feels like more calmer, more passive, more different ways. That's normal because the band needs to create a different album compared to the previous one. That's completely. But one thing that captured my attention is when the Blood in the Water released during the pandemic, you have the influence for the previous world now, or the previous world, the normal world before the pandemic. Now, usually a musician, when feels the outside situations like pandemic, economic, a lot of stuff happen at that moment. So the musician tries to deliver a more calmer situation for this. Is this your case? That's why the album Ahmed the Weapon are more calmer, are more relaxed, are more soft than the Blood in the Water.
Uh, I don't know. I feel it's about the same as I would consider everything that you're saying like edgy. Like maybe you're saying it's not as edgy as the last record, but I think it is. There's definitely some brutal speed metal on it, but we're also trying to appeal to the bigger choruses and sing to the song, give the songs what they need instead of it just going, oh, we're just gonna play fast or we're just gonna play this. There's no. I guess the most important guideline for the music that we're creating is right to the song. So if we come up with a riff, we pass it around to each other and we each develop on it, and hopefully by the end of it, it's like an assembly line of you know, and like you're building a car, or an automobile, or something like that. And you obviously want the best quality in that. So uh, I have to say this about my guys. I'm super proud of my band. They're all extremely talented. You've got Ken Mary, who's a world-class producer, and he's a monster on the double bass. I mean, you hear that on "I Am the Weapon." It's brutal, man. The drums on that record are brutal, and so are the vocals. AK seems to be aging like a fine wine, I guess. That's what some of the reviews have been saying, and I do believe that we have the best singer in metal, and I'm lucky to be able to play with these guys every night. Uh, and then Bill Bodley, he's the latest member to our band, the bass player. What an incredible musician this guy is, a super technical bass player. And he's fun to hang out with. I mean, I like all the guys in the band. Even if we weren't in a band together, I'd still be calling him, going, "Hey, man, what's up?" So there's definitely a brotherhood going on. And I think that comes across. I guess my point is, I think that comes across in the music when we record. So in answer to your question, that might be why it's a little more smoothed over because we're all comfortable playing with each other.
Okay, okay.
See,
You
tell me to
guys,
shut up, man. Tell me to shut up.
no, don't worry, no worry. That's a great answer. So you guys seem to have a steady pace of releasing new albums. With your last one coming out in 2021, now this new album 2024. So what motivates or inspires you to keep such a consistent release schedule, especially in an era where people tend to listen to albums less, and there are so many other releases competing for attention.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. Like, uh, there's a lot of answers to that what you just asked. For like a newer band or something like that, it'd be terrifying to release a record right now because just to get out there promotion wise. holy crap, there's so much competition, and there's a lot of really, really good bands, and there's a lot of bands that, you know, I wouldn't listen to either, but like the competition, it's brutal. And again, I'll have to say we're very fortunate and grateful to be where we're at. We've had almost a 40-year run and longevity in this thing, and we're still going strong, stronger than ever, as a matter of fact. So uh, we feel like we lost a couple of years with the pandemic and all that stuff that happened. And we feel like a little bit like we lost a great record too that wasn't able to get out to the masses. But hopefully now that things are spinning again and picking back up, we can get out on the road and get the new Flotsam into people's brains.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So many bands and musicians see each album as a child, each one special in some way. So what makes this album special to you? And now, how do you work to maintain your classic sound while still keeping your composition fresh after so many years as a band?
Oh, I don't know. I'm constantly practicing all the time because, like I was telling you before we even started the interview, I'm listening to all these guitar players, and some of them are just incredible. Make me want to put my guitar in the closet and just go, I'm done. I can't do that. But I do have, I'm fortunate to have a little bit of a gift to be able to write music. And it seems like whatever I write, it sounds like a Flotsam song. It doesn't matter if I'm writing for Flotsam or if I'm writing for another band. It sounds like a Flotsam song every time. So I guess that's just my style. Um, and I mean, I can't write anything different than that. I tried to write a song not too long ago that was, like an AC/DC song, and that was hard as hell for me to do. And when I was done with it, I was like, delete. you know, it was awful. But it's like Angus Young and Malcolm Young. Uh, when they would write a song, it always sounded like AC/DC, no matter what. I'm
No?
not
Okay.
comparing us to AC/DC because that's a giant band. It's one of my favorite
Yeah.
bands on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, that huge band. So talking about the name of this album, how do you choose the name of your of the album? It's a random, or do you try to convey something that encompasses the concept of the entire album? Also, how do you typically decide the order of the songs on an album? I feel like that is important aspect of the listen experience.
Yeah, it's super important, especially now when people's attention spans are, they'll listen to like the first 15 seconds of a song, and if they're not captivated by it, on to the next one or on to the next radio station or whatever, but they put the CD back in the record collection and they never listen to it again. So that's attention span is a big thing. So when you're picking the songs, you got to make sure that you freaking punch them in the face right away with it, and they're floored with something that just that gets their attention. Um, what was the other part of the question? Shit. I'm sorry.
And also, how do you typically decide the order of the songs on an album? Because it's very important to have a correct order to have an experience listening.
Oh yeah, the correct order is we went round and round about this, and we ended up having to give it to the record label and just say, look, we need some help with this because we can't decide. There's a lot of good songs on this record. So they helped us with a little bit of that. They decided A New Kind of Hero should be the opening track. It's got like a giant intro, and then it ends the record ends with you wanting more. You get an in your face song at the very end of it, just going, you know what, we're still relevant. And I don't know. It really is important how you pick that.
Mhm. Oh, okay. So now talking about now, especially if now the people are uploading reviews, hearing the music, comment about the singles. So how do you feel about the reception of your fans and press has been to the singles, to the album right now? Do you usually read reviews or criticisms about Get Posts online? And how do you take these old comments for the singles, the new album, etc.?
Well, so far everything. I think we've had one negative comment, and you're going to get them from time to time. You just got to let them roll off your back a little bit. Like I said, we're all really proud of this record. We know it's a good record. Um, we haven't even released it yet, and we've already started playing one of the tracks called Primal, and people already know the words. So we're playing it and they already know the words up front. It hasn't even been released yet. I mean, it's been released as a single, but the record isn't even out. So that is really positive to see that kind of stuff, that they are starting to take to the new material, and hopefully we can keep expanding on that, and that'll keep growing.
Mm, okay, okay. Looking back, with more than over 40 years as a band, and with with a lot of albums, if you had to pick three major milestones in your career, what would they be?
3 milestones in my career?
Yes.
Uh, ooh, there's a lot of them actually. Okay, let me narrow them down. So the first one is going to be getting signed with Metal Blade and actually releasing a record. I felt like I was a rock star back then. 17 years old, going to Hollywood and making it like an old school style record. Uh, the second one would probably be getting signed on a major label, which was Elektra back in 1988. And then the third one, I'm gonna say when the End of Chaos came out, like something happened to the band at that time, especially over in Europe and in South America as well. It's like the band went from like being this big to like that. Like our shows were getting sold out. We were playing clubs that were selling out. Our merch was doing really well, and that was like the reignition of Flotsam and Jetsam, I think.
Mhm. Okay, okay. Mm, Talking about now, if someone who discovers you sees that your origins gone back to 1981 when you called Paradox at that time, they will have to think you place like something classic, something thrash metal, something black metal, something classic at the moment, hard rock or heavy metal. No? But no, that's not your case because Flotsam and Jetsam have a continuous growing in each album. So the band's sound is modern in some ways and includes sounds different of the different styles within metal, especially. So, what is the reason for your musical evolution, and how do you find your sound when they ask you?
Man, that's a great question because it's really kind of you feed off the players that you're playing with. So our growth, and when we were younger, we were wanting to play fast. The metal movement was coming, the speed metal, thrash metal was coming out. It was brand new. It was almost like punk. So it's like let's play fast, let's play aggressive, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier when you gotta write to what the song needs instead of just going full on 100%, 1,000 miles an hour. Sometimes it's got to breathe a little bit. And so when we started getting into like our third and fourth record and fifth record, we started to let the songs breathe a little bit and kind of understand the songwriting process as opposed to being, you know, uh, just young and aggressive all the time. Like better songs uh, translate live to an audience as well too, and it sounds better. It's a tough one to explain, and on a musical journey, I don't think I'll ever obtain that. Like to write a perfect song. But that's probably why I'm still hungry for it, because I've never wrote a song where I'm just like, that's the one I've always been wanting to write.
Okay. Okay, now talking about the promotion of this new I Am the Weapon. So, what kind of plans do you have for this I Am the Weapon? So, perhaps more tours, perhaps videos upcoming, or you mentioned me a few minutes ago that you were already working in the new songs for the new album. So, what kind of plans do you have in general for Flotsam and Jetsam and this new I Am the Weapon?
Well, we're starting to book stuff for 2025. The rest of this year, we're not doing a whole lot. We just finished all the festivals in Europe, and we did a couple in South America as well, in Brazil. And now our next adventure is going to be 70,000 tons of metal. Have you ever been on that?
No, no, not yet, not
No,
yet.
it's the cruise that leaves from
Yeah, yeah.
Florida.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. I understand
yeah,
about the
it's
questions. I know, I
yeah.
know, I know the Cruiser, but I didn't went there.
Yeah, we're doing that this January, and that's going to kind of start off our season of touring, and who knows what's going to be coming up. We just signed with a new management company, and There's a lot of stuff on the table right now. So some of it, well, I can't really discuss any of it other than the cruise right now. But there's going to be some really good things happening with Flotsam this in 2025.
Mhm. Okay, okay, so nice, nice.
If that's
I
a good
also
teaser, I don't know.
well, yeah, yeah. I also see that you've been working with AFM Records for a while now, more than seven, more than 6 years now. So, how would you describe your relationship with the label, and how is important is it to the band, considering that this day a lot of younger bands are choosing to self-produce and release their music independently?
Both of them have their pros and cons. Fortunately for us, AFM, what it means is all for metal, which that's definitely for a metal band. That's the label that you want to be on. Um, they have been behind our music ever since we signed. Whereas opposed to like some of the major labels, like from our experience back in the day, uh, we would get signed on a major label, but there would only be a couple of people on board with what we were doing. Then next thing you know, we're lost in the corporate world. We're not getting any funding, and next thing you know, you can't do tours because you just can't get out there. You don't have the money to do it, and you're not they're not really taking care of the band or trying to market or promote or anything like that. Now AFM, that's different. They're behind everything that we do. Even though they're a smaller label, you know, and the demand for uh like pricing on stuff is a lot different. Touring is a little more easier than it was back in the day. As far as I see, this is where the pros and cons come in because it's all very, very expensive. But with the label support back in the day, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. I couldn't spit that out. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. And now we're more budget oriented, instead of going into all this debt, my advice is don't spend the money. Try to sell your merch, try to, pay for your own stuff. That way you'll see royalties later down the line.
Hmm? Okay. Okay. Nice. Nice. Well, at the beginning of the interview, you mentioned it that you right now there's a lot of good guitar players around the world playing fast burns or technical play. I don't know, but for people like me and you for 40 years old, we think that the music need to be more catchy, more feelings. This kind of topic, not just a calisthenic people trying to play guitars or drums or bass or I don't know a lot of things. So now with this, there you can see around the world there's a lot of releases with this aspect, technical, progressive, I don't know, more stuff. So now, what's your opinion about this oversaturated stuff with the technical, progressive, experimental into the metal? Is good or is it bad for the scene?
I don't think it's either good or bad. I think it cycles like music cycles every I don't know how many years, but maybe every 10 or 15 years or something like that. Everything starts to go back to the way it used to be. You see like you're seeing just as an example to kind of compare it to, you're seeing everybody go with what we do and what you listen to, what I listen to. We're going back to vinyl, like we're going back to square one with the sound of records. We're understanding that the digital, it's convenient, but it doesn't sound the best. The vinyl actually sounds better than anything. And I think it's the same thing with guitar players. Everybody's doing this stuff that, it sounds like a freaking computer game,
Mm.
and it's difficult to do, and it definitely takes a superhuman talent to be able to do that stuff. But what I think it's going to go back to is the tone. People are going to want to listen to tone again. They're going to want to listen to for lack of a better word to say it, they're going to look for tasty bends and more melodic stuff in solos. And I think that's going to become more appealing.
Mhm. Okay. Other talking about other kind of topics, and we are very close to this interview, Michael. As you can see now, the social media is a great tool for a lot of bands. You can present a band with just one song in all social media and get attention for thousands of people in seconds. That's interesting for a good way, but it's not interesting if you want to purchase the physical because the physical are gain yes again earth for the a lot of people for a lot of collectors for this topic. So for this, what's your point of view about now the social media that lose the essence of the metal, because the metal is not right now, it's not darkness, it's not afraid, it's not has the this mythic thing that when you see brujeria for the first time in the 90s, you think that people are narco satanic people, or King Diamond live in a castle. This essence lose for the social media. Now you can see a black metal just with hoods of masks, but not represent any kind of fear. That's normal. So what is your point of view on now, about now the metal is more comprehensible and understandable for a lot of people without losing the essence of fear?
Well, see, again, there's a lot of aspects to that too, because the social media thing is great, for you want to get your band out there, and they always talk about organic likes. I don't know if you've heard that before, but your band gets out there, just say you're a medium-sized local band or something, and you start getting more and more likes. Those are organic, the real likes on your social media, your Instagram and your Facebook and stuff like that. But a lot of these bigger bands, I'm not saying metal bands, I'm not saying pop, but it's definitely happening. It's bought, a lot of this stuff is paid for, and it's not organic, so it's kind of a game that we're starting to notice where, in order, you're looking at likes, trying to get your likes above everybody else's, and that's kind of now what it's become, and I don't know where it goes after this. I have no idea of the trajectory of it. But where's the music? I want to hear the music, and I don't care about likes. If somebody likes it, that's great. But I'm not writing music to get likes. And I think there's bands out there that are doing that. Like AI stuff. Are you kidding me? They're gonna try to put us out of business, the creative people out of business with this, because they can mimic our singer. They don't need us anymore because the AI does his voice. So it's like, why do they need us? Like, what the hell's going on?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, talking. The next question goes to this one: the advancements of the artificial intelligence and how fast it has advancement that is being used in the arts, both for composing music and for graphic art. So, how do you see this from your perspective? And do you think in the future will you use it to compose it, perhaps design a cover, or who knows? For example, do a complete video created by AI. For
Um, I think, coming from an IT background, I think it's impressive that this is actually happening. But really, it's kind of like the Jetsons too. It's like this is going to take over the world at some point, and what's going to happen to jobs? What's going to happen to creativity? It's going to stamp out a lot of stuff, even though it's all gathered from the internet anyway, right? I mean, it takes everything that it's seeing on the internet and it spits it out at you. So, I mean, if used in a good way, I mean, that's great, but there's a lot of evil in the world, man, you know?
Okay, okay. Well, Michael, the sad times arrive at this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one like me. Great answers. I love this new album. It's a great one, as usually from Flotsam Jetsam. And perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans to expect? You mentioned a few gigs here, and obviously Metallica followers.
We are trying to get down there, definitely. We would love to come up with a tour, and that's actually one of the things we're working on right now, is trying to get down there and actually doing some tour dates and not just doing one-offs or festivals for you guys. We've never really been to South America, so other than some festivals and stuff like that. So we really need to get down there and do some dates and spend some time with you guys.